Right now, the Senzo Meyiwa trial is hearing a complaint about the presence of a Netflix documentary crew in the courtroom. The case resumed in the High Court in Pretoria this morning after about an hour's delay. The last time this case was in court, there was a dramatic arrest of defense lawyer Malissa in the courtroom. The prosecution had also told the court it was not happy with the line of questioning of witnesses by the defense. Football star Senzo Meyiwa was shot dead at the home of his girlfriend Kelly Khumalo in Vosloorus almost 8 years ago now. For more on this case, let's go to our reporter eNCA Slindelo Masikane, who has been in court for us. So this application, what is the argument by the defense essentially?
So we've heard from Advocate Malissa, who represents accused 1 to 4, as well as his instructing attorney Titi Tobane, with regards to their grievance and their issue with the presence of 1010 Film Productions, which is commissioned to flight a Netflix documentary around the death of Senzo Meyiwa and what transpired back in October 2014. But this is what we understand the beginning of a series of this particular documentary. The first 5 episodes flighted about 4 to 5 days before the start of this trial. And if anybody has actually seen this documentary, you would know that it speaks to what happened on the day, who's involved, the role players, the people who were in the house, the investigating officers. In fact, they've spoken to some potential witnesses in this trial. And what the defense is saying is that the flighting of this documentary has actually subjected not only their witnesses to potential intimidation, but also subjected their clients to the court of public opinion, saying now their clients have been subjected to inferences being made on their innocence and guilt, as well as their role in the death of Senzo Meyiwa. They're saying that the production house, 1010 Films, is not a traditional media house like eNCA, SABC, or Newsroom Africa, where they are informing the public on what's happening in the trial proceedings. They're saying that they are actually financially benefiting not only from being able to film these proceedings for free, but also benefiting from the grief of the Meyiwa family. They're saying that if they want to access the trial and the proceedings, they should actually be approaching the traditional media houses for this footage and pay for it, as opposed to getting it for free. But their main concern really is the fact that they believe that their clients have been prejudiced by the flighting of this documentary. But not only that, they're saying that there's a potential that more episodes are going to be released while this trial is underway. Let's just take a listen to what Advocate Malissa had to say.
My potential witnesses of the accused 1 to 4, they complain that we have been exposed to the harassment, to the intimidation. It's a common cause that this court knows that we have been harassed, starting with me as a counsel of 1 to 4, my attorney, and all those interested parties in our case for our case 1 to 4. We got intimidation, we got the threats. We are not saying Netflix or the 1010 Film Production intimidating our witness. He said they are exposing our witness to intimidation, to serious threats to their lives. So where is he coming from? Say that if his company, his client is intimidating our witnesses, we must go to police station. That is madness. So what we simply and shortly say, 1010 Film is a production. It's not a media house. It's a production house for the films. They are for money.
All right, Steve, so is the state in agreement with the defense's application?
It seems they are. State Prosecutor Advocate George Baloyi made his submissions after Advocate Defo saying that the court has the powers to regulate how these proceedings are going to be broadcast, saying that there is an issue around the fact that we don't know whether there's going to be future episodes that are going to be released during the trial as it's unfolding, and whether whether any more potential witnesses are going to be interviewed. And so they seem to be in agreement with Advocate Defo. And we also heard, of course, from the lawyer representing 1010 Fulham saying that his client has done nothing wrong and that it's unfair to really say that as a production house they don't qualify to be labeled as a media house here in the courtroom, and that they have made an application like all other media houses and were granted to be inside court back in April. But let's just take a listen to what Judge Maumela had to say.
The other concern is that you represent an entity which is not a media house, and I would be interested for you to respond to that, which is not a media house, which is here as a business concern to gather material that it intends to use within the concourse of its business venture. And therefore, when permission was granted for the media to be in attendance in this trial, it did not include business ventures that want to do the one or the other in pursuance of the objective of their business.
Shall I address you?
Yes.
So, well, firstly, all of the mainstream media who are attending these proceedings and who record all criminal proceedings or civil proceedings in the country are business ventures. There is no non-profit company present in court today. The SABC, eNCA, Newsroom Africa, these are all business ventures that derive revenue, otherwise they wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be sustainable. So we don't understand why one is being singled out and not the others. The other issue is that documentary makers are members of the media.
Slee, and I know that this trial hasn't really started, right, because we've had to see so many postponements and this longest one recently. But with you covering the court case there, has 1010 Productions been there from the beginning of the trial? I mean, already there's been drama, so if they have been there, they've gotten a little bit of footage already.
Yes, they've been here from the start of the trial back in April. They do now and then bring their cameras in court. Sometimes they aren't in court, but they certainly have been, and they are here today with their legal representative. But I think what's going to be interesting is to hear from Judge Maumela how he's going to rule on this particular application, because what the lawyer for 1010 Fulhams has also raised is that there is no actual formal application on the side of the defense as well as the state, and that they have not been really given proper time to be able to respond to these concerns. And also I think it's going to be interesting to see how the judge does rule, because the argument here is whether 1010 Films is, one, a media house, two, are they benefiting from being inside court in terms of money, and three, will their presence actually prejudice the accused as well as the administration in particular of justice. So we are resuming court proceedings at around 1:45 this afternoon, and we await Judge Maumela to give us his verdict. But also, we don't know if the cross-examination of Thabo Mosia is actually going to continue, because he is here. He has been in the witness box. It's just that we have spent most of the morning dealing with this particular application.
Well, Slindelo Masikane at the High Court in Pretoria, this case really does refuse to conclude. I mean, can you believe we're only on witness number 1, and cross-examination there is still not concluded. After Advocate Malissa, we still need to hear from the advocate representing accused number 5.